Football season is right around the corner, so what better time to go ahead and do a live streaming setup video for football 2024. I'm Jason Hoffman. My goal is to help you have the confidence to just press go live. As we look at all the things that happened on Friday night for Friday Night Football, I'm excited to bring you a live streaming setup video for football. So when the Friday night lights hit this fall, what will you be using for your football setup? Now, today will be the home version. I'm in the press box. I have access to both of the bays that I'm going to be talking you through today. This one and the one where we do the public address announcing as well. My setup at home will look very different than my setup is for the away games when I don't have access to a press box. So from cameras and control devices all the way down through accessories, let's look at what a live streaming setup for football might be like for you. So we'll start with my 3-camera setup. Now, your 3 cameras may be different, but this is what I'm going to have. A 30 times zoom PTZ cam. This is a Fomico. I've used it for baseball. I'm using it for football, and it will probably find its home here in the press box for the rest of its life. This is probably going to be a much more permanent mounting at some point. I just have it set up on a tripod right now, travel tripod right now, and it's not the most stable. If I get any kind of shake here, I'm going to get shake in the video, so I want to be sure that I have this mounted probably here up above and let it hang down low. I do try to shoot through the glass because I have so much better control of it here. I can run everything that I am wired in this scenario. I'm not going to have anything on the track this year. I can run everything wired in this kind of setup. Now, I'll still be streaming via a cellular connection through my Slate AXT travel router. All of those things will remain the same as they are for most of my, my mobile live streams. But the specific parts here are the 30 times zoom PTZ camera. And I'm going to be running that PTZ camera via HDMI into my Mailbox Ultra. I'll also have a Mevo Core here for a little bit wider shot. This 30 times zoom on the PTZ camera is going to give me the ability to zoom all the way into the huddle. Then I can get some really good shots in between plays of our boys going into the huddle, breaking from the huddle. Then I can back off to one of my wider view cameras here that are underneath it. A Mevo Core with the 1442 Panasonic, Olympus lens on it. I'll be able to control that from remote as well, but I'll set this one up just to be a wider view from this one location. It will probably not move the entire stream for a football game. The Nearstream VM46 is also going to give me a 4K stream as well, and I'm going to point it to the other end of the field. So everything from about the 40-yard line to the goal line, or to the end zone, for both of these lower cameras, I'll be able to catch there a wider view that lets me see the entirety of the play without having the ball throw or run off screen. I can use my 30 times zoom here on my PTZ cam to catch everything else. Anytime that I want to zoom in a little farther, I can back it up to give myself a wider view as well for when things are in the middle of the field. And I can actually, if I have the camera operator to do so, I can actually follow the play a little bit because of the ability to pan across the field with that camera. So those 3 cameras are going to anchor my live stream setup for football this year. I'm going to have 4K coming from all of those into my Mailbox Ultra, and it's going to handle my streaming, it's going to handle my scoreboards, it's going to handle my announcements and sponsorships. It's going to handle all the things that I need to run through it for football because I can run it all HDMI. I can have a completely wired setup. I can run my data connection here through Ethernet as well. So this is going to be a reliable stream for me to use in my live streaming setup for football. Now, when it comes to other cameras that you might have a choice of, obviously, we can still use the Mevo Start as our wider camera shots. I've used these for several years now streaming football, and they do a great job. Even from up here, they do a really good job of catching that wider view that sees the entire play from a distance. The zoom on those is, as you know, a digital zoom, so when I crop in, I'm actually losing a little bit of quality. They do a good job of trying to correct that and keep it as high quality as possible. But because I have access to a couple of 4K cameras, I'm going to use those to get a better live stream. I could also use my OBSBot Tail Air here and its ability to pan, tilt, and again, it has digital zoom, not optical zoom, but it would give me a lot of good shots, just as another camera here at the bottom where I could catch things maybe on the sideline. You could mount this outdoors if you want to and closer to the field and run it back in via NDI if you've bought the NDI license for it. So there's a lot of good options for some cameras that don't have an optical zoom. They just have the digital zoom, but you can have just a little bit further out view of all the things that happen on the football field. Now, as far as accessories go, the PTZ camera is powered, so it's hardwired. So I have a power strip that I run here, and I can plug in charging cables if I want to. You can see that I have the USB charging block there as well. I do keep battery blocks just in case that I'm in a place where it doesn't have power, and so I keep my battery blocks in my streaming bag all of the time. I'm going to want to do some game sound, so I do still use the Rode Video Micro with a good quality wind muff. It's the one that came with it, but it does a fantastic job of cutting out wind, but allowing game sounds to come through. And I'm just careful as to where I put this. I can actually run this from say a Rode Wireless Go wireless setup. I can do transmit here and receive to one of my cameras or to the YOLO box itself. And so this can be a wireless setup if I have some similar ability to plug in 3.5mm there and 3.5mm here. Let's see, it's on the bottom on this one here, and then I can set this up. Usually I set it up just to that side of the press box. That's proven to be a pretty good spot where I don't catch a lot of vociferous communication from the stands to the referees. I want to be sure I guard against that. Sometimes it's even from the stands toward the coaches, and I certainly want to guard against that. But we just want to get the cheering. We want to get the band. We want to get the whistle blow. We want to get those kinds of things on our stream. There is a speaker for the PA just above that, so you get pretty good public address out of this as well. So the folks listening at home can catch on to what's happening at the game, and it works really well there. One addition that I'm very excited about having in my live stream this year is the new YOLO deck from YOLO Live. They have given us physical button control over presets for all the things in our live stream. And I'm going to be setting that up in just a moment, and I'll give you an example, a little bit of a display there of what that might look like whenever we have 3 cameras. So I have 3 sources to use. Where we have some overlays to use, we may have some announcements, some video rolls, those kind of things can be fired from the YOLO deck, and I can do it instead of having to man this here. We're going to see if I can do it from over there where I'm doing the public address, and just have those buttons be what they need to be so I can fire them. I can change camera angle. Version 2.5 of the YOLO Box Ultra actually gave us PTZ control, so we're going to try to get PTZ control from this camera to our YOLO Box and see if I can do presets on my YOLO deck, so I can have a zoomed out view here for the middle. I can go that way, I can go that way, and I can zoom, and I can have those presets that are static shots zoomed in a little bit, and have a little bit easier time of controlling the cameras in this game if I don't have a camera operator over here like I have in the past. And as far as HDMI cables go, I want to make sure I've got good quality HDMI cables running from there to here. I want to make sure they're long enough. I don't want to run something that's too short, and I'm going to be stressing my jacks on the back of either the camera or the YOLO Box Ultra. And I want to make sure that I'm able to send that 4K signal through it and it not have any kind of glitch there. When I talk about connecting my MiFi hotspot, I still have the Inseego MiFi hotspot from T-Mobile. It only has the one port on it. It's charging port and data port. So what I have to do on that one, it's not like the new 3100 that you can get from Verizon. This one has the one port, and so I'll take an adapter USB-C to Ethernet, and then I'll run Ethernet cable from here to my Slate travel router. And again, you want to have a decent Ethernet cable, and I've run across a few that would kind of crap out on me, and I'd have to replace them. So this is one that I just picked up as an example. It's not my highest quality one, But yeah, we'll run it into the WAN port here. A lot of folks like to run it into their USB 3.0 port here. I don't, and I can't really give you a good reason as to why I don't, but from the USB-C to USB-A port, a lot of folks will run it that way and get data there. I don't do that, but I just run it in this form as what instead. And so then I can run my power either from my battery or from my plug-in, and I can connect my device, my Mailbox Ultra, into this network. And I'll tell you the reason why I do that. I know it looks like an unnecessary step when you can just run that MiFi straight into your Mailbox Ultra via that Ethernet cable, because it does have an Ethernet jack on it. And the reason that I do that is because if I want to take one of these cameras and run an NDI camera down there, wireless camera, then I have a much more robust network to bring that NDI camera in on. And so that's just a little bit added benefit of having that Slate AXT travel router. Since I have power here anyway, I might as well go ahead and make use of the ability to run that better network through that travel router. So as we set this up for actual streaming, what I'm going to do is just simply run an HDMI cable from my Mevo Core. We'll do HDMI out from here. We'll go HDMI in. We'll let that be input 2. I'm going to reserve input 1 for my main camera, my PTZ cam there. So we're going to HDMI input 2 here on the back of the Mailbox Ultra. We'll run from the PTZ camera HDMI 1 here, because that's going to function as my main camera. And then we'll run from the back of the Nearstream VM46 via its USB-C port. We'll run from there into the USB port, one of the USB ports on the Mailbox Ultra. And now I have 3 cameras running into the Mailbox Ultra itself. Let me power those up so that the Mailbox will find them. I may have to put my VM46 into USB, into webcam mode. I'm not sure. We'll get across that bridge when we get there. So we are going to have to do some kind of webcam mode here on the Nearstream. You can see that is a beautiful side shot of what we have going on here at the ballpark, and I'll be able to zoom in a little bit and catch the entire end of the field for plays that happen here. Now let me go into the camera settings, and we'll turn on wired webcam mode. It tells me that I need to reconnect the USB cable to apply changes. Let's see if it picked it up without having to do that. It did not. We'll readjust to catch the entire end of the field over here. Be sure I can get all of the end zone. That should work very well. So those things are set up. Let me go ahead and get my travel router powered up as well. We'll run it through battery power for now, since that's the kind of cable that I grabbed there. We'll set it here, let it have access in case I want to run a camera from down there. Go ahead and give myself a LAN connection out of the back of that and into my Mailbox Ultra. So now I have connection everywhere. I can have a wireless network if I want to run any wireless cameras. I have my wired network here that's going to be running off of my MiFi hotspot. I have really good service here at my home field, and so I don't often run Speedify for this one. It's just not necessary. I do like to run Speedify, but I haven't actually loaded it on the Ultra yet. I had it on the Pro, and so if I needed Speedify, I guess I could pull out my Pro and run the same, because I have all the same functionality here, as well as the ability to run the YOLO deck on the Pro now that the new software has come out there too. I'm gonna have to trade this cable out. I didn't realize I had the longer one that I need for the YOLO box, the YOLO deck, plugged into my Nearstream. So we're gonna need to do this. Here we go. Yes, sir. All right. Now we're up and running. We'll plug the YOLO deck into the other USB port and go ahead and plug it in and let it fire up. And let's look on the Mailbox Ultra and make sure we have, oh, I still don't have, one thing I do need to make sure I say here is that when you use a USB cable for a picture, for sending video, wired webcam, to adapt it to an HDMI cable, whatever it is, make sure you're not using a data-only cable. I think that's what I have. I think I have a data-only cable, excuse me, a charging-only cable here, and so I'm going to have to change that out with something else and hope that I have a data cable in my bag. I may be one cable short today. So what we're going to do is try the cable that runs the YOLO deck. Restarting it will give us USB 2. So yeah, I had a charging only cable here, and I needed data to run through that cable, so I had to use the YOLO box, the YOLO deck cable to make sure that works. All right, so we're zoomed where we want it to be there. Wired webcam mode is on, and now I have a beautiful picture coming in from 3 camera sources. So let's look at how this YOLO deck is going to change the way I live stream football games this year. Now I have my 3 camera inputs. I have HDMI 1, HDMI 2, and USB 2 all ready to roll here. I've got a couple of overlays, a full screen and a transparent one. My transparent overlays, you'll see the football go on and off there in the corner. That's just a transparent overlay to dress up my scoreboard a little bit. And I built that in Keynote, set my opacity of the football itself to about 30%, exported it as a PNG with a transparent background. That's the only thing on the screen, and so it works really well as a transparent overlay that can be turned on or off in the YOLO Box Ultra. And then I have a solid overlay that might be a pre-game or post-game while I'm tearing stuff down. That's just one of the ways that an overlay would work there. We have the ability to add a video source as a local video, as long as you have something on your SD card or your portable storage. You can have advertisements. You can have the commercial that the business that's sponsoring that does. They can send it to you, and you can do that as a timeout stream that goes out for you. So great choices that we have there in the YOLO Box Ultra for overlays and videos. And you can just add those sources there through that add video source, and then you can program those to be one of your buttons on your YOLO deck on this scene or the next one. You have more than one scene here. I have a football page here and a baseball page here, but it's unlimited number of pages. So you can't really see that very well. Okay, so we'll pick that up so you can see it a little better. Unlimited number of pages. Just keep going through, and you can add the next page in the YOLO Box Ultra software. I've already done a video on that. I'll link it here in the tag. It's also in the description. So if you need to learn about how to set that YOLO deck up to run the different pages and to do the different things in your stream, it's right there for you. But let's look at what this is going to be like in our stream for football. Now that's what this page is on. So I have my 3 sources. I actually have a 4th just in case I want to do that sideline camera. Source 1 is going to be my main source. It's HDMI 1. It's the PTZ camera, and I have the ability to do my presets there via the remote. So we have the ability to do PTZ control from within the YOLO deck as a preset and from within the YOLO Box Ultra, but I have not set that up yet for this video. That's a video that's coming out soon, and so we'll look at that in more depth at that point. But until then, I'll just tell you, use your remote. It's got my custom presets here, so all I have to do is tap on which button that I want it to be, and it's going to pan over and change the view. I've got a 50 to 35 there. I've got my 45 to 45 there, and I've got my 50 to 35 on that end of the field, so that then I can take from there and go ahead and give myself the view that is the far end of the field, so I don't miss anything there. And if I'm going the other direction, I'll have it on that end of the field to boot. So that's a beautiful shot. We'll just leave that one up for now. But let's look at how that works with the the YOLO deck. So source 1 goes back to my middle camera. Source 2 would be my right-hand camera. I would probably switch these out so that I go left to right. I much prefer to have my cameras go left to right, so I'd probably switch my sources out. And so I have my left shot, my middle shot, my right shot. But you can see it change the shot there in the screen as we push those buttons. And then I have my overlays. Let's make that bigger so you can see it a little bit better. So I can turn that football on or off with overlay 1. That's just a little window dressing. That's not that important. But I also have my full screen overlay that takes over the screen, with the exception of the scoreboard. Scoreboard stays up all the time if it's on. You can turn them on and off just with the press of a button, and notice that they do turn red when they're active. That's a visual that's incredibly handy. Now, I love the tactile because you do have to press these buttons all the way, and I love the ability to look and see what's active at a moment's notice. And so our scoreboard, I did 1s and 2s plus, -1 for the minus, so that I could adjust the scoreboard. Now the scoreboard is nothing and nothing, so if the Elks score, we'll go 2, 4, 6. So the touchdown, if we go for 2, I'll add 2 more. If we kick the extra point, I'll add 1 more, and now it is 7-0. You can see how that is so incredibly easy to change, and I don't even really have to look away from the field of play as I'm doing my public address announcing. It works incredibly well to have this over in the bay where I'm going to be, and it gives me the ability to multitask a little bit, but it's just such a simple setup in the settings here. It's going to change the way I do football streaming by all means, to have the combination of YOLOBox and the YOLO deck. And remember, YOLOBox Ultra and YOLOBox Pro now both have the ability to support the YOLO deck since their new softwares have come out. The last feature I want to show you on the YOLOBox is the replay feature, because I do have that replay button assigned here in my YOLO deck. And I just love this replay feature because it gives me the ability to just tap a button, back it up 10 seconds so the folks can see what just happened on the field. Now you can change that 10 seconds. Let's see, replay settings. I can change that 10 seconds to whatever I want it to be, so it'll back it up as far as I want it to. I can choose the replay speed, whether I want audio on or off, what the resolution of that replay is going to be. If I want to mute the other audio source during replay, then I have some mode preferences. I'm going to do it to always play now and not ask, because I just want to be able to hit the button and it be fired off. So I can also do a replay logo if you want folks to be sure they know they're watching a replay. And then you can do some preset control there as well. I'm going to get back out of those settings. Replay is turned on. I have a replay button configured here. Let's zoom that out. Let's get you a bigger picture so you can see. And when I hit start replay, I see an exit replay button. It's going to last for 10 seconds and that's going to go away. What the folks at home will see is just the play happening in front of them. And now we're back to a live shot. It's hard to tell that when we're just watering the grass out here, but you get what I'm talking about with the addition to your stream. This is to have a replay button. I don't have to go find it in a menu. Because of the YOLO deck, I can just hit start. I think the YOLO deck may be the biggest single change for me year over year for my football live streaming setup. The ease of use of being able to have it in the next bay over, all my equipment in this bay here, is going to be something that I thoroughly enjoy. I can't wait to start streaming on Friday nights. Let me know in the comments what your live streaming setup will look like.